You lose someone's number and just don't get a new one. A friend group chat goes quiet for 3 weeks, and you feel relief, not guilt. Someone says, "We should hang out soon," and you say yes, definitely, while already knowing you won't follow up. And it's not that you don't like people. You just noticed, somewhere along the way, that you stopped keeping them. This is a real pattern, and it has a name psychologists use. Avoidant attachment showing up in friendship, not just romance. It's more common than people admit, especially among people who look completely fine from the outside. Busy, independent, low drama. But underneath that independence is usually a very specific history, and once you see it, the behavior stops looking like a character flaw and starts looking like something that made total sense at one point in your life. Here's where it usually comes from. Somewhere early on, connection came with a cost. Maybe you were the kid who reached out and got let down. Maybe closeness in your house meant unpredictability, so you learned to keep one foot out the door before someone else could push you out first. Maybe you had a friendship that ended badly, or a parent who was emotionally there one day and gone the next. Your nervous system took notes. It concluded, quietly and without asking your permission, that needing people is where the pain lives. So it built a system to protect you. Not avoid people exactly. More like, keep them close enough to be useful, far enough to never really matter. That's not coldness. That's a survival strategy that worked so well you forgot it was a strategy at all. Now watch how it plays out. You're the friend who's incredible in a crisis but disappears the second things are calm. Because chaos gives connection a purpose and calm just feels like exposure. You have work friends, gym friends, several. We vibe when we run into each other friends, and 0 people you'd call at 2 a.m. because depth was never the goal, safety was. You let friendships fade out instead of ending them, because a slow fade doesn't require the vulnerability of saying, "This mattered to me." And when someone gets a little too close, a little too consistent, you find yourself pulling back for no reason you can name, like an internal alarm just went off that only you can hear. Here's the part that doesn't show up right away. This pattern feels like peace, but it's actually a slow leak. You tell yourself you're just independent, that you don't need much, that you're fine alone. And you might even believe it. But humans aren't built to run on almost connection forever. Loneliness doesn't always look like crying on the floor. Sometimes it looks like scrolling through old messages from people you used to talk to. Sometimes it's a quiet flatness that shows up on your birthday, or a holiday, or any moment that's supposed to be shared and isn't. Over years, this doesn't just cost you friendships. It costs you practice. You lose the skill of being known, of letting someone see you mid-mess and stay anyway. And that skill, like any skill, gets harder to access the longer it sits unused. But here's the actual good news. And it's not the fake kind. The fact that you can even recognize this pattern in yourself means the automatic part of it is already loosening its grip. You're not broken. You're not doomed to be alone. You built a very effective wall when you were smaller and had fewer resources, and that wall did its job. The problem is just that it never got the memo that the danger is over. It's still guarding a door that doesn't need guarding the same way anymore. Noticing that is not a small thing. That's the actual turning point. The moment where a lifelong reflex becomes a conscious choice instead. So here's a shift you can start using today. Instead of asking yourself, "Do I need this friendship?" which your brain will always answer with "No, I'm fine." Ask yourself a different question. If I let this person a little closer, what's the actual worst thing that happens? 9 times out of 10, the honest answer is small. Awkwardness. A slightly vulnerable text. Someone knowing you a bit more than you're used to. That's it. That's the terrifying dragon your nervous system has been protecting you from your whole life. And once you see how small it actually is, you can do the brave, boring thing. Text first. Stay in the group, chat one more day, then feels comfortable. Say "I miss talking to you" out loud instead of just thinking it. You don't heal a pattern like this by forcing yourself to become someone who needs 20 close friends. You heal it by letting one person get slightly closer than your old rules allowed. Because the people who struggle to keep friends were never actually bad at connection. They were just really, really good at protecting themselves from something that already ended a long time ago.